Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Ullum.
Welcome to Inside Hilltopper Athletics. Just got back off a Christmas break, or not Christmas break. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Thanksgiving break, joined by co-host Dawn Clegg and head women's basketball coach Kyle Cooper. Coach, first of all, Thanksgiving break, did you watch a lot of football? What did you do?
Yeah, a lot of football, a lot of basketball, got a lot of family time, so it was really, really good. I think it was really good for our program. They got, 4 days off. We preach balance and family in this program, and they got time with theirs, which I think is really important. I think they came back with some bounce, so the last couple days of practice have been good and inspiring.
Well, since we last had you on, we only played one game, which was Notre Dame game. Led comfortably most of the time. So let's start. Just give us your thoughts about the Notre Dame game.
Yeah, I thought we were playing really, really well. I thought we got in flow in multiple parts of the game. I thought our ball movement was really good. Shot selection was really good. And I think most importantly, we were forcing tough twos and getting stops. I think you see a defense that's continuing to evolve, and it's making us better because now we're not relying so heavily on just scoring. And then, as the game progressed, you have to give Notre Dame credit, which is no shock. Now that Lauren Macer is back at the helm there, she does a very good job. They fought. They started pounding the ball in a little bit to Noelle Weathers, and she got some good looks there. And I think that the hard part for us was, as a coaching staff, when you look at that game, was end of third quarter, beginning of fourth, you go, how the heck did this all happen? Why is it close again? And the reality of it was, you saw we had a lot of empty possessions, but we just weren't getting enough stops, including a half-court shot going in at the buzzer at the end of the third quarter.
Okay, well, as we're taping this, it's Tuesday morning. We're getting ready for Wednesday night doubleheader with West Virginia Wesleyan. West Virginia Wesleyan comes in, they're 2-3, 0-2 in the conference. And Coach, you've come through some early adversity this season with various factors, but somehow you're coming into this game, you're looking for your third straight win, can get you off to a 2-0 start in conference play, which you can't get better than that. How have you been able to pull that off?
I think it's, starts with, we're not looking at it as adversity as a program. We're looking at it as, we talked about this in early podcasts with you all at Media Day and so on. If we have the veterans we have, if we have the leadership we have, and if we believe in the product we're putting out there, the adversity should not be crippling at all. It should be viewed as opportunity, and I think some players are doing that, and I think our leaders are stepping up. I think getting Grace Falk back makes us feel a little bit better, even if she's in small doses, for the time being. But I think it's just our players have kind of weathered the storm, and we're starting to control more of the things we can control. But right now, our next jump is in the details. We've got to be a little bit better in several different things, and if we can find that, we can make another jump, which we need to make this week.
And again, speaking about it, it was great to see Grace back on the floor. And of course, she had that immediate impact with, super efficient 8 points in about 2 minutes of floor time.
Yeah.
But what kind of impact does that have on you going forward? Not necessarily just Grace, but starting to get the pieces back that you were planning to come into the season with from the start.
I think it's everything, I guess you could say, meaning, we talked about what the roster looked like. We talked about what holes we thought we had, but we recruited to fill those, and then we developed the rest through what we do. But I think getting them back is everything. Grace immediately had an impact, not only just efficiency-wise, but you see it's like riding a bike with our motion. She gets us in a flow. Once she gets her full bounce back, she'll be better on the other side of the basketball. She'll get back to rebounding a little bit more. All that stuff will come. We're not worried about that. But she gives us another body that's another veteran that gets us good looks, and she's a highly efficient shooter, so that definitely helps. But I think there's layers to that more. It's, you're seeing Bailey Smith starting to settle in as she makes her return. That's a big bump for us because it takes a little bit of the weight off of Corinne and Carly. Like, it's just, when they're not shouldering so much of the needed production, it makes everybody a little bit better, and it makes us deeper.
Yeah, and Coach, you alluded to this, but having played a live opponent in a little bit more than a week, what have you been doing since the kids came back to campus in terms of preparation, maybe not necessarily specifically for Wesleyan, but just for going forward?
Yeah, I think Sunday, we came back and we really got after it. It was a 2-hour practice. It was hard. We did some film review just to clean up some things defensively that I think as we continue to evolve and give different looks, we have to be better in. But we focused strictly on us in that 2 hours, and we really, really got after it. And then kind of Monday settles in yesterday as the day where you play like kind of half and half. We're going to start getting ready for Wesleyan, but still keep focusing on us. Today we'll tone back the intensity, but not necessarily the reps of preparation, if you will.
So when you talked about starting to evolve a little bit and a chance to work on some things without giving away game plans and things, right now, what do you see you can make the greatest improvement in?
I think it's probably offensively when you look at just the consistency of what we're doing. I think it's being in sync more. It's kind of that playing as one model. And part of that comes down to things like shot selection at times. I think there's times that, I have really pushed us hard as a program, and Coach Seth has kind of had my back in this on a consistent basis. Let's take the first good look we can get, but not all good looks are created equally based on personnel. That's a jump we need to make for sure. And I think the other thing that we can do is just cleaning up little details defensively on how we start possessions, the point of attack, if you will, in a half quarter in transition. If we can clean those up, it makes certain players and more marquee players less effective, and also diminishes role players that bring, that one trick, that specialist to the game. If we can start doing that stuff and stacking possessions doing it, I'd like us to make a big jump here.
Do you think getting back in the shot selection, and this is just former coach coming out, as you add more pieces to the puzzle, which diversifies your offense a little bit, does that right there clean up some of the shot selection?
Yeah, I think so. And I think there's also that push of like everybody having that mentality of, knock on wood, we have gapped where we were turnover-wise last year, which has helped. The more shots we get, if we now see efficiency go up, life's going to be good. But there's some still players that are in early stages of their development. I don't want to give her a hard time. She was an All-American and then somebody that is obviously beloved in this program. But Aude had a learning curve. And we're seeing, some of our players go through similar learning curves, and as they evolve, they're going to figure that stuff out. But I do agree with you. As we get those pieces back, as Grace Falk's minutes go up, some of it naturally will take care of itself, which is obviously a refreshing feeling as a coach.
Well, looking specifically at West Virginia Wesleyan, as we said, they come in here at 2-3. They've been a little bit up and down. Started off the season back-to-back wins, both times they scored over 90 points, including 93-55 over Shepherd. That's a program we're pretty familiar with. Mm-hmm. Now they're coming in off of 3 tough losses, but 2 of those losses were to two of the other teams that are undefeated in the conference. Right. So, what do you expect to see from the Bobcats?
I think honestly, he's probably got his most talented roster. They've added an impact freshman. They've got some players that have made some jumps. They just have more balance where there's more versatility to what they're doing. So I think what you're going to see is a team that he's got some control on as well, that's staying a little bit more in their lanes at times. But no bad shots. They rebound the ball offensively really, really well. They are very opportunistic when it comes to their defense. They're known to steal some possessions with a pick 6 here or there. We have to diminish those things and then not let players settle in and get to their spots and do what they do. And I think that we're going to be okay on Wednesday, but it is a challenge. They're going to be coming at us, and I think he's doing a really good job.
We don't call them pick 6s, we call them pick 2s now.
Sorry.
So we, just to clarify that, let's take one step aside. Let's get out of sheer basketball world. Wednesday, we have a lot more going on in your program other than the opponent. So tell us a little bit about your community event.
Yeah, I think it's something that's always been kind of tight with our program, and it's evolved over the years. But the Keep Wheeling Warm initiative is something that we've partnered with several people locally, and it's an opportunity for us to try to impact the wheeling community through providing needs, money, financing, all of that stuff to try to help get people off the streets and warm, for lack of a better term, in the winter months. It's had a major impact on our program. We've been doing it now for years, and it's something that, again, the little things do add up in this case. It's amazing how many layers over the years we've had. So we would be really grateful not only for a great crowd for our players, but a great crowd and a great turnout to support this cause.
So how can the viewers out there, if they come to the game, how can they support this cause?
We take donations of a lot of different causes. On social media, you guys can take a look and see the different list. If you can't see that, feel free to reach out to us and we can get it to you. But it's a variety of different products that people would need, ranging from coats and jackets to just non-perishables to those kind of things, blankets. All that stuff makes an impact. Any donation people would like to make would make an impact. And then we'll transition all of this week to next week, where we'll spend actually basically half a day at Walmart in the cold collecting different supplies there. And then we will take it all with the help of pre-insurance and panhandle to YSS, and we will get that stuff sorted into the places it needs to be. So great opportunity for our players to get in the mix of the community, and what a better time than in between Thanksgiving and Christmas to do it.
Especially as cold as it out is now.
Yes, I mean, I'm even in long sleeves.
Yes,
today.
these things can help.
So,
Let's talk football before you go off the air,
Sure,
because
sure.
what a lot of people don't know, part of the fun of me coming back up here and doing these shows is I get to argue with people about football. So, Division I college football, who do you got winning the national championship?
I don't know. It pains me to probably say it, but I do think that Michigan's going to be pretty hard to beat. I think it'll be very interesting to see how this next week pans out with the championship stuff. But definitely, I do give the nod to them, as much as it crushes me as a Penn State fan to give them any credit at all.
Dawn, is that Big Ten bias?
Oh, it's strong with this one.
Yes,
It really is.
absolutely.
Yes.
Well, that's going to wrap up this segment of Inside Hilltopper Athletics, joined by head coach Kyle Cooper. West Liberty looking to go 2-0 in the conference. 5:30 tomorrow night, which is a Wednesday. Come out and see the Hilltoppers take on West Virginia Wesleyan.
Disasters happen. Pick the team that takes care of them all. Powered by offices in Wheeling, Morgantown, and Pittsburgh, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration is ready to handle any size emergency at a moment's notice. We have the right people, knowledge, and equipment to respond 24 hours a day.
I'm Kyle Cooper. When disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Hilltoppers call, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Ullum.
Welcome to our second segment of Inside Hilltopper Athletics. Now joined by head men's basketball coach Ben Howlett. Coach Howlett, I'll ask the same thing I asked Coach Cooper. You've been down about a week. You've been watching football. What you been doing?
Watching a lot of college basketball. I watched a lot of Division II games over the break. It's one of my hobbies is to watch other Division II teams play, and watched a lot of good games, but watched a lot of football and saw some good games, saw some not so good games, but had a good break. But now I'm re-energized and ready to get back after it here.
Well, thank God that Coach Howlett coaches our basketball team, because he knows nothing about football. He's blowing my phone up at 11 o'clock at night after games, and I just shake my head and turn the phone off and go to bed, because you are clueless.
I think we differ on a lot of things, and football being one of them. We differ a lot on that.
He actually does know football, but we look at the world differently.
Yeah, we
so,
do.
all right, Dawn, fire something at Coach Howlett here.
Okay, well, and again, as we sit here, it's Tuesday morning. We're getting ready for Wednesday night game with West Virginia Wesleyan. Wesleyan comes in here. They're 1-5. They're 0-2. Of course, West Liberty, Coach Hallett's got them up to number 2 in the country, 5-0 overall, 1-0 in a conference. And, so on paper, I guess it looks like a little bit of a mismatch. I mean, we won 5 games by 30-some points, and Wesleyan's lost their last 5. They did open the season with a nice win. But coming in here, what do you see out of the Bobcats, Coach?
I think what Coach Sloan has done is he went in the portal and got a lot of new players. And all those players he got were either from Division II schools or junior colleges. And they've all had success at those previous schools. They're dangerous right now. And it's one of those things where you can't look at the records. You can't do that kind of stuff because they're still trying to find their niche right now. A bunch of new guys, they're trying to find and trying to play together, which is tough. And we're kind of dealing with that too. You get a bunch of new guys together, it takes time. And I know this, if they beat us, it makes their season. Like, that's what I know. And that's kind of been our message is, don't look at the records. Like, we're not that good right now, and we can't look past anybody. We have to come ready to play. And I think, I'll give our guys some credit. We've had 2 good practices so far this week, and those practices have been intense because we did give them a long time off. So we've had 2 intense practices, and I like the way we've practiced, and hopefully we'll be ready to play for tomorrow's game.
And speaking of that, and we alluded to this with Coach Cooper as well, you've been off for a little bit over a week. You had some time away from the guys. You got them back, but it'll be tomorrow night. It'll be 8 days since you've played another team. You were really rolling, had everything going. Got off to that 5-0 start. Any concern maybe about a little bit of rust setting in?
Yep, all kinds of concern. And I hated the time of the break because I did feel like we were in a really good groove and we were playing well, and I thought we were playing really hard. But with us, like, rest is essential. It's really important that our guys rest, and gave them all the way till Sunday off. So we played on a Tuesday and then gave them till Sunday completely off. And so that Sunday practice, we played a lot. Like, didn't do a lot of drills. We played. Like, we had, I think, 6 or 7 mini games, and I ran on the death that day. And yesterday we played a lot. So there is concern because we haven't played in an actual game in that amount of time. But same thing with Wesleyan, that they haven't played in a while too. So hopefully we're less rusty than they are, I guess.
Let's go back. Let's quickly talk about the Notre Dame game. So give us our thoughts.
Yeah, I was very pleased with the Notre Dame game. I thought our energy was great, and I thought both platoons, Platoon 1 and Platoon 2, really left their mark on the game, and they left it in the way of they played really hard and they had a great energy. And Notre Dame, who I think's a sneaky team this year, they had a hard time breaking our pressure. And that second group, and again, I know we don't talk about individuals, I'll say that line for you, but I thought Dante was everywhere again. Like, I thought that kid was like possessed almost when he was playing, and just making plays left and right. But I thought our first group, the big I guess problem with the first group leading up to the Salem game was they didn't get us off to good starts. And I thought since that Salem game, they've actually come in and given us good starts. And I just thought the Notre Dame game was a complete game for us, and hopefully we can build off that.
How much of a challenge is it when you've had your way this far? You're 5-0. Average margin of victory is north of 30 points. There have been extended stretches of total domination. It's almost like this is scripted. It's been that easy. Now, we know it's not easy. It's just worked out that it's that easy. So how do you keep the guys grounded? What is the secret that you have been able to do to get guys to perform every night they come out?
Well, first off, I tell them we're not that good because we're not that good right now. We've got a lot of room for improvement, and we talked to our guys on Sunday. Like, I think this team's ceiling is really high. And the only way to get to that ceiling is by playing hard every day, whether it's practice or whether it's in a game, and never to take days off. And when you've got some downtime, get in the gym and get shots up. And we just can't feel good about ourselves. We're getting there. We're a good team, but we're not a great team. In order for us to be a great team, we got to take it day by day and try to get better each day.
Well, one of the things that, and I don't like to compliment you, but one of the things that I do like is at the end of the Notre Dame game, it got a little ragged. Mm-hmm. And you're down there coaching and you're mad. But that's a good thing. Because not it's a good thing that we got a little ragged. It's a good thing that the message is always, I don't care if it's a 1-point game, a 5-point game, or a 50-point game, you're expected to do what you're supposed to do.
Well, when you get scored on every possession for the last 2 minutes, you have every right to be mad. Again, it's just tough that when you got 18 to 22-year-olds, and in Christian's case, 24-year-olds, to get them to play hard all the time regardless of the score. And you and I have talked about it before, at halftime, some of the most uncomfortable times that I've had as a coach is when we've got a substantial lead, because you know what's about ready to happen in the second half. Guys are going to get outside their element and try to do things they can't do. And I think for the most part, we haven't done that. You know, at the end of the Notre Dame game, it kind of got sloppy, and at the end of the Salem game, it got a little sloppy. But for the most part, I've been pretty happy with our guys. You know, playing through games and not getting sloppy.
Well, and that's the reason that I brought that up. I think that's what makes West Liberty basketball special. That the effort to this point, and me watching with a very critical eye, because I've watched thousands of men's basketball games. I love the effort to this point.
Yeah, I think this group, if there's one thing you can't nitpick at them, is they try. Like this team, they try really hard, and the effort's really good. And the cool thing about it is I think our guys can feel that. I think they can feel if they put maximum effort out there, good things can happen. And we have a saying here, it's called stuff happens. And what that means is in our pressure, you know, teams can do dumb stuff just because we're pressing them. They could throw the ball in the crowd. They could throw the ball when no one's there. They could just do dumb stuff, and we call that stuff happens. And I think there's been a lot of stuff happens, you know, in our game and in our pressure this year.
Well, one of the things I always used to tease you about when I was working up here is I always called you the world's youngest grumpy old man.
Yeah, I like that.
And but to you know, in point of fact, you know, you look down the hall there, and you have a wall full of plaques. From West Liberty basketball, that number one in the nation in this statistical category, number one in the nation in that statistical category. I mean, you've established the history, and the coaches that come before you, and everybody through that has that history of being at or near the top in a number of statistical rankings. Well, the rankings are starting to come out now from the NCAA, and no surprise, this year's team is up there again. I wrote some things down here. Since you're not only leading the nation in assist and turnover margin, you're ranked among the top 3, and this is out of nearly 300 NCAA Division II teams in 8 other categories. So, youngest grumpy old man, how much fun are you having coaching these guys?
Well, I'm having fun with this group. These guys are fun. I tell you what's fun is the new guys that we have completely bought in, and that's fun to be around. Especially when you got guys that are coming from, you know, programs that maybe not have won at the level that we have. They're coming in, and it takes them a while, but I can start seeing some of the guys make the turn, and you know, they didn't know how to practice when they first got here. Now they know how to practice, and they know that we practice one way here. And you know, just seeing that type of stuff happen on a daily basis is really fun. And you know, the older guys, I've spent a lot of time with these guys, you know, on and off the court, and I know their personalities, and they know when they can mess around with me, you know, but they also know when it's time to get to work and take things serious.
And talking about the you know, room for improvement, there's always room for improvement. Every coach believes that, and you know, it is a fact. So here we are, right after Thanksgiving. You've got still 2 or 3 months to go. If there was one thing you could, quote unquote, fix, that you wouldn't have to worry about it for the rest of the season, what would that be?
Giving up too many offensive rebounds. And I don't think, and he'll argue with me, which is what he does, but I don't think you can be a skilled rebound. I don't think there's any skilled rebound. I think you can just, if you want to go rebound, you'll go rebound. There's no skill to it, and I just think we got guys that, you know, are staring at the basketball when the shot goes up, and we're not the biggest of teams, so we need a gang rebound. We need all 5 guys in there to rebound, and I think sometimes, and I'm really hard on our guards because I was a guard myself, and I think our guards just assume our big guys are going to get the rebound, when in turn we need our guards to get in there and scrap and fight. And so that's the one area that if I could clean up one, it would be offensive rebounding.
I've always emphasized rebounding from the top down, meaning I think it even starts with the guards rebounding their position, because so many balls go to that mid spot, and guards have to be moving in that direction to make an impact on the play. But it's been fun to watch, and I'll end it with, you'll appreciate this. I was in a social setting the other night, and I can't even remember where it was, but my wife was with me, and basketball came up. People were talking about basketball, and they said, did you watch this game, or did you watch the Mountaineers, or whatever it was? And my wife, totally on her own, said, well, West Liberty's ruined me to watch men's basketball because I can't watch any other style. It's boring. So
Nice.
take that.
We brainwashed her.
Yes,
I
take
like
that
it.
as a compliment. And I kind of fall in that same trap. It's incredible to watch we're hoping that a ton of people watch on our streams, but you got to see it in person to really appreciate it, to feel that energy when things are going our way and Dante is possessed and running 1,000,000 miles an hour. It's pretty fun to watch. So if you have an opportunity, this is Tuesday, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, West Virginia Wesleyan. Men's game tip-off at 7:30. Come out and watch us, and if not, please tune into the stream, and Dawn and I will be bringing you the game. So that wraps up this week's edition of Inside Hilltopper Athletics, and Coach, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Disasters happen. Pick the team that takes care of them all. Powered by offices in Wheeling, Morgantown, and Pittsburgh, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration is ready to handle any size emergency at a moment's notice. We have the right people, knowledge, and equipment to respond 24 hours a day.
I'm Ben Howlett. When disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Hilltoppers call, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
My name is Hannah Salonica. I'm a senior in the psychology program here at West Liberty University, and I'm going to take you on my day. So first today we're going to go into biological psych with Dr. Fletcher.
We are going to be doing our Play-Doh activity with the eye. So we're going to create an eye out of Play-Doh, and assignment part 1 will be due the end of the day today.
The psychology program here at West Liberty University is really amazing. The courses are set up really in a way that you build a strong foundation before you move on to some upper level classes. Some of those can be like biological psych and clinical psychology. So we really do work on getting those transferable skills before we move on to the more like harder classes. So psychology is really a flexible and applicable major that we can use to do so many different things. You don't even have to stay in the field of psychology. I know a lot of people can use these skills to transfer over into different social work careers, even things like criminal justice. And going to grad school really just opens up those opportunities. For me, I really want to go into school psych, but a lot of people in my cohort like the clinical psychology route, where you really focus on assessments and the therapy setting. And our school here at West Liberty has a grad program where you get your master's in clinical psychology, and when you graduate you get to actually work as a licensed doctoral level psychologist in the state of West Virginia. So today we're heading back into biopsych, where we're actually going to be dissecting cow eyes today.
Part 2, we're going to walk through most of the questions in class, but then you will still turn in the document online. The nice thing about the cow eye is it's really big, so it's a lot easier to see these different structures.
Biopsychology is a very fun and challenging class. It's super interesting, and we're learning a lot about different anatomy, not only with the cow eye but also with the brain. And we did do a Play-Doh dissection before we moved on to an actual cow eye dissection, so we were able to use those skills on the Play-Doh and then transfer them over to the actual anatomy dissection. And this really connects because there's a lot of malfunctions and different disorders, not only with the eye but also with the brain. So being able to identify those specific parts, we're able to use that to then learn about the different disorders that are affected in those areas. So when you're a senior, you go through a practicum experience, which is a internship of about 100 hours, as well as some classwork that adds up to like 35 hours. I decided to do my internship at the School of Bright Promise, where I get to work with a BCBA, which is a board certified behavioral analyst, and I'm on her behavior management team, where we work on responding to different crisis behaviors with the children. But it really is awesome because I get to work with kids. This is something that I want to do with my school psych masters that I want to get, and it also helps just really prep for the future and get hands-on experience of applying these psychological principles we're learning in class and applying them into the real world. So today we're heading to canine cognition with Nessie.
Timing has to do with the conditioned stimulus being presented, and it needs to happen before or at the point that the behavior is occurring.
So one of our special topics class is the canine cognition one. This is actually a new class we just added that students can take for a psych elective, and we really go into a lot of the biological functions of a dog from their birth up until their adult life, and we're also learning different skills like training skills, as well as some first aid that we can actually use on our own dogs. So it's a really fun class. So we're heading into the psychology lounge to do a quick meeting. So the psychology club here is really a place that you and your cohort and other cohorts can kind of come together, and we do different things like study groups. We do some fundraisers like our chocolate rats in the fall, and we also have different trips that we take, like going to the trans lunatic asylum. We did that this year. That was really awesome. And then also we were planning on going to the psychology museum in Akron. Thanks for checking out the program with me. For more information, visit our website.